Welcome, namaste. This is a yin sequence for the chakra system, the 7 main chakras. And you've maybe seen them represented with different colors. We start at the bottom, the root chakra, work our way up into the last one, the crown chakra. So we'll come into our first shape, which is butterfly. You bend up your knees. You're ready, placing your feet on your mat. Let those knees fall out to the side and look for a diamond shape between your legs. So pushing the heels away from the groins. If you have a tendency to pull them in more of our yang practice, we want a little different position with those feet, those legs. Okay, we can start tall. The fingers can be beside you. Find length in the spine and permission to stay here. Or if you want to go for the fold, begin to come forward. When you feel like you've found your first edge, you can bring your hands forward to support your weight. And then the spine can come into flexion. Maybe tuck the chin towards the heart. Softening along the upper back, softening the neck. Butterfly for the root chakra, first chakra. 2 minutes or so here. About another minute. I'll remind you that there's 2 ways you can breathe in your yin practice. If you have ujjayi breath in your practice, you can use your ujjayi breath or count your inhales and exhales to 4 or 5 seconds. And begin to restack your spine. Come on up. We'll stretch out the legs for a moment. We'll come into our second shape. So you spin your legs around. Saddle pose for our second chakra, sacral chakra, which is located just below the belly button. And these are energetic areas. They're not something that you'd see in, like, say, in an autopsy if you open somebody up. Saddle pose, your heels are coming underneath your seat. First option, hands come back and you just slightly lean back. Okay, you're going to find your edge here. Everybody will be different. Maybe you can come a little further down to the elbows. Some people will lay all the way down onto their backs. I can't do that without support. Quad dominant. Whatever version you do, make sure that your knees aren't lifting off the mat. If they're lifting up, you're gone past your range of motion. You've lost the stretch anyhow, so back it off so that the knees can stay down. Again, about 2 minutes here. About halfway. When we first come into shape, you're looking for that initial edge, something between the challenge and safety. And then as we're here for time, you might play with those edges. You might find to come a little further, test the water, see if that's right for you, or back it off. And keep playing with those edges. If you lower to the back or your elbows, carefully bring your hands back underneath of you. So you can rise up, come forward, swing the legs around, give them a little shake or bounce. Good. Moving on to our third chakra, the solar plexus. So, twisting square pose. Let's begin with the left leg underneath, bending that one. Place the right one on top, and then adjust here. We're looking for the shins to be stacked on top of each other. One knee is over the ankle, ankle over the other knee. We're going to keep that top foot flexed, okay? Not unusual for this knee to be high, a little tight there. That's lots for us. Okay, we're going to twist to the right. So sitting up nice and tall. And then begin to turn to your right. Left hand can gently rest on that left thigh. Right hand is finding somewhere to support you. If you're really comfortable, you want to come down a little bit lower, you can take your hand and rest your face into it here. And I might cue like halfway if you want to stay up tall for the first half and then come down for the second half. halfway if you wanted to come down a little further. Good. Come up, be folded through center. Those hands behind you so you can stretch up the legs. Little movement or stillness, and then we'll do that on the second side. Bringing the right leg underneath to start, crossing the left one, and then adjusting. Having a look down at those shins, kind of stacked on top of each other, knee over ankle, ankle over knee. We'll keep that top ankle flexed to protect it, top foot flexed, so that we don't torque the ankle. Introduce that rotation over towards your left. Permission to stay up tall for the first half, or you want to come right into that little bit of a fold, you can. And here, if you want to come down a little bit further, if you're ready for that. Good, and then come on up, untwist, hands behind you, stretch out your legs. Good. Moving into our fourth chakra, the heart chakra. This we're going to be doing arm pigeon. So sending your legs around, come to your belly. Carefully come on down. I'm going to begin with my right arm extending up beside me so you won't see it. But imagine it's coming straight up from the shoulder. So do a check that is in fact right up from your shoulder. Maybe it wants to go a little bit lower than shoulder height, possibly even higher. We're going to come directly up from the shoulder. And then roll onto that right side. Float those knees up into chair position. Head comes down to the mat. That other hand, you may need to keep it out in front. If your shoulder, your chest is really tight, it may cause you to roll forward. So you can use that like a kickstand here. Or if it's okay, you can wrap it around your low back. Okay, palm facing away. And once we come into a shape, we try to remain still. 2 times it's okay to move. If there's pain, something doesn't feel right, you have permission to come out immediately. The other time is if the body opens and allows you to come a little further in a shape.
The hand is around the low back. Bring it back out in front. Very carefully stretch out those legs, yes, and roll onto your belly. Be careful with that right arm. And we'll go right over onto the other side. So extending your left arm from the shoulder, roll onto that left side. Float your knees up into chair position. And decide with that right hand if it needs to stay out in front for some support, or you can wrap it around the low back. 1 minute here for our heart chakra. And green is the color associated with the heart chakra. And bring that hand back out in front. Stretch out the legs. Slowly roll onto your belly, being careful with that arm. And we'll come up to prepare for our next one. So this is for the 5th chakra, our throat chakra, quarter dog. So quarter dog, you can start in a tabletop with the knees staying stacked over those hips, seat nice and high. We'll start maybe with the right leg, or arm I should say, bent. So extend the left arm straight out in front of you. Bend up that right arm, parallel that forearm with the front end of your mat, and lay your forehead on your forearm. And like I said, the seat is going to stay up nice and high here. Carefully come up, lean forward into that outstretched arm, and then we'll switch to the other side. So if you're following me, I can keep my right hand towards the top of the mat, bend that left elbow, lay that forearm down on the mat, and drop the forehead down onto the forearm. 1 minute, quarter dog, the throat chakra. Beautiful. Lift up slightly, lean forward, lower all the way down to the belly into prone position. And this is actually going to be for our sixth chakra, the third eye chakra. I encourage you to stack your hands and rest your forehead there. So we want to stimulate that third eye. We want some kind of contact with the third eye and something. The hands probably the most comfortable. Legs are nice and wide. Okay, maybe about 1 minute here. I invite you to roll on to your back. Our last shape is pentacle for the crown chakra, for the seventh chakra. Okay, roll on your back. Legs are nice and wide. Keep the far corner edges of your mat and extend those arms overhead, coming into the pentacle 5-point star. If you'd like to stay here for a little while longer, you have that opportunity, stay where you are and ignore me. Or for those who are going to get moving at the end of this class, you can bend up one knee and the other, and roll onto one side. Cradle your head in your arm. And then push your way up to your seat. I'd like to thank you for joining me for this chakra flow. I hope all the energy is flowing and you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.